Yep, I'm on here letting people know how pathetic and despicable the government is. Like, the neighbours around here on the pension are dropping like flies. The doctors are actually murdering people because they don't have enough money. Yeah, so bravo to all you people that are using the public healthcare. Like one despicable human, a bus driver, and they're on, about $3,000 a week. Instead of the government forcing them to go private, they're actually cluttering up the healthcare system. And I met again, I'm the one with the bleeding stomach, ulcers, tumours from my body, broken ankle and broken foot, and refused any treatment period at all. They just refused to operate on me, and the doctor crossed his arms and turned his back on me, Dr. Chan, and said I was a waste of his time. And after 20 years, I've been desperately trying to get amoxicillin for them. I've had a doctor threaten to slap my face, broke my shoulder, and I had another doctor for $100 laugh and laugh and laugh in my face and say put up with the pain. This is what they do when you're poor, because they know that it's really hard to get a doctor. But if murder was legal, I actually would have gone around the back and slit the doctor's throat. She was just sitting there laughing hysterically, and I had to give her $100 to laugh at me with a broken shoulder. And she's at Cardiff. And this is the way poor people get treated like dirt. Even a dog gets treated better. Yeah, so anyway, I met another lady on the bus. She fell off a horse, and basically her back's nearly snapped. I mean, it's that crooked, and you see the spine pulled away in bits. Well, she said to me, the surgeon, she felt sorry for him, said, oh, he couldn't operate on her. No, because it wasn't a car accident. Bullshit. That is a medical emergency, and they're refusing to operate on her when she's had her spine. You should see her spleen and all the bones ricocheting from it, and the public health care refused to operate on her, and they demand her wait 2 years because you mongrels that can afford a good doctor are actually using the healthcare system and getting freebies. And they should turn around and execute every doctor, and you'll find that there'll be no poor people. There'll no such thing as poor people, because there won't be any medical problems. Most people on the pension have really easy problems that are easily rectified if they had the money. 1 day surgery, like all my friends at work, and I was doing charity work and going to TAFE, and I can barely walk. Because of that, they punished me and chose that deemed me not operatable, and that I should actually die or limp around on 1 foot for the rest of my life. And this is broken shoulder, refused treatment, dirty, evil looks of the brat at the hospital, broken ankle, broken foot, tumour in my stomach, tumour on my back, and another big massive tumour, a big black one, in my shoulder, and not one doctor has treated me for it. And this is the way you get treated when you're poor. And the neighbours, a lot of them are dead too. And I try to figure out why this is happening. Can doctors be that cruel? They are. I had every single doctor at Charlestown refuse to treat me for anything. Then a gastrosurgeon said, "Fuck me dead, fuck me dead. I should be dead." Bolted from the where he was scanning me, doing the ultra scan on me, and told one of the doctors there at Charlestown Square that I was bleeding really badly, and he just sat there and didn't even call an ambulance. Then when my son nearly died in my arms, and he was only a couple of weeks old, I was told it wasn't a taxi cab service. Then when I broke my ankle, I called the ambulance twice, and there's about 6 at the hospital. They refused to show up for my broken ankle, yet the lady at the bank, straight away, in surgery, another lady, straight away, me, they refused to even show up here, the ambulance. Now, this is what happens when you allow people with money to use a healthcare system that was meant for poor. And this is why poor people are poor, because they can't afford it. And this is why, thank God, no, don't say that. No, I take that from my mouth, sorry. That they invented something called GoFundMe. So, yeah, but most poor people can't even afford a phone. And then I was told I was a druggo when I don't do drugs, and that's why I deserve to die or bleed internally with 2 bleeding stomach ulcers. And I'm actually serious how bad it is. And then, mind you, the doctors actually are very proud of their accomplishments. I won't forget when my son was dying in my arms because they injected him with a needle. Then all I got was go get by the nurses. The doctors were laughing and laughing. Only a couple of weeks old, he was dying in my arms, and they were laughing hysterically, calling him coma baby. And again, the ambulance wouldn't even show up to save his life. A little baby dying in his arms, and they swore at me and wouldn't even come to the house. And this is how bad they are. So don't have any respect for ambulance drivers. Don't say that because they pick people up. They're the good people. Like, most of the time, they treat poor people like dirt. I nearly got strangled to death by the neighbour, and the police didn't even bother to show up. The ambulance showed up and refused to treat me point blank. And then she said that I had to sign a piece of paper saying I refused treatment. She wanted me to go all the way to the hospital. Mind you, I went there bleeding and vomiting, projectile vomiting. They kicked me out at 3 in the morning, didn't even look at me, walked away, didn't even bother even looking at me while I could barely walk. And I was vomiting that bad I could barely stand. Projectile vomiting all over the place, and they didn't even bother with me. They kicked me out at 3 in the morning and made me walk home in the pouring down rain. I live at Edgeworth, all the way from the JHH. They expected me to go all the way there with a broken ankle and turn around and see a doctor when I went for a broken shoulder, and they did nothing about that. They wouldn't even do a proper scan on me. They wouldn't do it to prove that I had it. And then the doctor I went to see turned around and turned his back on me again, like the gastrosurgeon, and refused to give me a piece of paper because he said I was going to sue. Of course I was going to sue the buses. It's still not better. When some guy driving a bus decides to send me flying all the way out the back and cracks my fucking that's assault. He should be in jail. Oh, and talking about that, I had another bus driver, right? This is what happens. The police won't even charge someone with assault. I had one of the Sugar Valley bus drivers, a 268, actually threatened to rape me, undo his zip on camera, said he was going to F-U-C-K me, stupid, locked the bus, went up the back to try to RAP me, and the police haven't arrested him, and I complained. And then he did it again. He locked me on the bus again in front of 10 pensioners. He didn't even care that they were on the bus and refused to let me off the bus laughing. And he hasn't been charged with anything. And this is what happens when you're a pensioner. People can even sexually assault you. A broken foot. Young guy did this to me on camera. The police refused to even charge him with assault. Haven't even bothered to look at the video footage. Then I had a guy at Woolworths. The management actually assault me in front of 50 people, and the gutless so-and-sos didn't do anything. They just ignored it, throwing around an old age pensioner, nearly 60, with a broken ankle, throwing me around the shop, and everyone watched. And then the police won't even charge him with assault, and it was on camera in front of about 100 people. And that's what happens when you're poor. It's okay. It says to the whole entire society, it's okay to do the hell what you want to anyone. If they're poor, you can even kill them. It doesn't matter. On camera. And then I was actually hit and assaulted 7 times with a broken, she stomped the shit out of me. Someone about nearly 8.5 foot tall, this big obese Maori chick, right? On camera, my friend was laughing his head off, stalked me out the shop. I went and spat in him. I wish I punched the fuck out of him, right? And then the police charged me. Oh, and then security ripped the bag from my shoulder, wouldn't let me have my personal items back, and that's assault and that's theft. The police put me in jail, and I called them. I was put in jail for 2 weeks in a little cell, refused to call anyone at all, told just locked me in a little cell for 2 weeks, treated me like a criminal, shackled me everywhere, and I was the one hit. Not once, with a bruise on me. Not twice, not 3, not 4 times, but 5 times then stalked, had my bag ripped from me, that's theft, and then that's actually a form of assault because I complained about being hit and assaulted on camera again. And also what happened was I wasn't entitled to a decent lawyer, legal aid. One of them turned around, I saw her. She was actually best friends and laughing with the police, and you're not allowed to do that being a lawyer. She told the judge I should go to jail for 2 years when I was the one hit. And they didn't even take me to a doctor or even record the bruises on me from being hit. And all I did was try to walk into a shop. and I got assaulted and put in jail. And this is what happens when you're on the pension. Police know you can't afford a decent lawyer, and nearly all legal aid is corrupt. Then I googled the reason why doctors are killing so many people, and I'm coming from the neighbourhood dying, and I met another one. She's got a nearly a cracked spine from falling off a horse, so I won't operate on her. Then another one that had his stomach hanging out, and the JHH wanted him to go for a 2-year waiting list. Your organs are pissing out, and some filthy rich scum gets operated on straight away, but yet a poor person gets told to go home and die. Your stomach is pissing out, and they refuse to treat you. This is the brat doctors, and when you have a doctor refusing to treat someone because of their income, that's murder, and they should be executed. And we should bring a law out to execute every doctor that does this, because it's killing someone. When you refuse to treat someone for anything, then that's murder. You can die with all these illnesses, and you don't have to give a shit if you got money. But bravo to all of you that use the public healthcare system, because you're killing someone. And these are serious conditions that the poor have to put up with. Just go around looking at people in Department of Housing and how their teeth look like holy shit. Like, seriously, you're not even allowed a decent dentist, and when they do anything to your tooth, look at this, 11 years later, and I've had the dentist about 6-7 times do the same shit. They put this talk crap in, falls out straight away. They won't even do a hole in your teeth decently, and then private straight away, done properly. But we can't afford it on $20 a day. Like, I have to go fund me for bleeding stomach ulcers, broken ankle, and tumours, and I shouldn't have to. And some brat gets put in there straight away, and they won't even operate on me on a broken foot, and the ambulance won't even show up here. Now that is a real evil ambulance drivers. That's why I don't give a shit when people say they help people out. They don't. And then when I've gone to the hospital, one lady was screaming in a car accident, and the doctor reckons straight away she had broken ribs, and they were in there, all the doctors at the JHH, gossiping about a wedding, Googling that shit instead of bloody getting her in and operating on her. And this is how you get treated when you're poor. They don't give a shit. They have no respect for poor. They don't give a shit. They only do it, they only help or have respect or treat people with money with respect. But I was there when I had bleeding stomach ulcers, and I was vomiting and collapsing through the whole entire JHH. I could barely breathe. I was projectile vomiting that much with bleeding stomach ulcers. There was another lady on the pension. She was dragged by the throat by security. She was nearly strangled, dragged by the throat out the hospital, and she was screaming, "I know my rights." She got to, and they still dragged her by the throat. They wouldn't even bother with her neither. Then another guy, there was only 3 of us, he was actually told he was insane, and they said he had to go to Fletcher, making up bullshit about him. Another pensioner sick. Then everyone that wasn't on the pension was treated straight away, and everyone on the pension was ignored or dragged out by the throat. Now, I wish I'd filmed it, but having bleeding stomach ulcers, I was actually really, really sick, so I couldn't. I was in shock. They kicked me out at 3 a.m. in the morning in the rain with perforated stomach ulcers. And this is only a little bit. I met another guy that was put in the morgue. They put him straight in the morgue with dead people. And then the doctors will laugh and laugh and laugh, thinking you're just a joke. And they should execute people like this. No, a year, 2 year, whatever, 10 years later suing, just take them out and put a bullet in the doctor's head and get someone that can treat someone with common decency in there and actually do surgery on them, and don't give a shit about how much money they got, because really that's murder. That is murder. And all you have to do, if you really want to know how pathetic and evil and despicable doctors are, just turn around and go on the pension just for a week, and you wouldn't be able to cope with the way they treat you like dirt. And then just pray to God you don't choke on something, because they won't give a shit about you. I'm actually deadly serious. And this goes on and on and on and on. This is how evil they are. This is how evil doctors are. And when I was younger, I actually witnessed something that this is even worse than people know. A lady had died of a heart attack, and 2 doctors just stepped over her, stuck their noses up in the air, and didn't even look down at her, and she just died. in the surgery, in the waiting room, and everyone else was there. They didn't give a shit. The doctor tried to usher me out, and I wish I'd sue the ASS off the evil, so heartless things. And they actually didn't give a shit. They just walked around, didn't even care. She died of a heart attack. Bang! On the ground. No CPR, no nothing. My husband, boyfriend at the time, actually tried to do CPR on her, but she was dead. They didn't call an ambulance, nothing. They just stepped over in front of the whole. So they actually did this in front of all these other people. That's how sure they are that no one gives a shit, because they don't. So yeah, and that's true. That was real evil people just sitting there while they dropped dead, and the doctor stepped over her, didn't even look at her, stuck their nose in the ear and tried to pretend that she hadn't died, and she was a big lady. They stepped over her and still kept on proceeding to treat patients while a lady had died on the ground.